This is my day 2 update for my Frostblade's Trickster, and these are going to be all of the bosses leading up to my first 2 Void Stones. You're going to notice something very interesting about these fights, and you're going to see me in the last fight, the Searing Exarch, that I do a little bit of a gem swap, and my damage goes up. In fact, you're going to see my damage go up in a couple of these fights as well. And I will explain, but some of the people in the comments have been suggesting a particular anointment that I'm going to go over a little bit later on, so you might already know what it is, but it does require some specific stuff to work. And in the last fight, you're going to see me swap out my Ice Bite for a faster projectiles, which has something to do with that. I'll explain it all at the end, and I do think that this is going to break the Frostblade's build into a whole different stratosphere. This is a very, very powerful piece of tech that I think is going to push the damage numbers to unbelievable heights. But you'll see towards the end just how much my damage goes up, and I hope you enjoy, and these will be all the fights. I'll see you soon.
Your absurd defiance ends here, hatchling. Annihilation. Incineration. Disintegration. Cleansing. Annihilation. The fires of 1,000 suns. You do not have the strength, hatchling.
That may be, but I am not. No! I want the asset!
Pathetic. Annihilation. Disintegration. Cleansing. Annihilation.
Alright, day 2 here, currently level 90, currently still on none of the core uniques for the build. in case you didn't realize or pick up, I have the Anoint Vengeant Cascade, which was making all of the projectiles basically come back and hit the Searing Exarch. You may have seen in the mini-boss that leads up to Searing Exarch, I also positioned so 2 or 3 of the projectiles bounced off of the pillars, which increased my DPS a lot. But the other 2 fights I was unable to do so because I hadn't really figured out how to make it work. I noticed on indoor maps that the Vengeant Cascade, which by the way reads 15% increased projectile speed, attack projectiles return to you, returning projectiles pierce all targets. I realized that it wasn't really working on open maps very well, but it was working really well on maps that were like indoors, had a lot of walls, and same thing with boss fights. So I'm like, well, there might be a way to work. So the first thing I tried to do was slow down my projectiles, thinking maybe that they're going too far and basically not rendering anymore. And that did not really work. So what I ended up doing instead was I thought maybe if the projectiles go fast enough, there's going to be like an invisible wall. Because I noticed when I was doing Cove that I noticed on Cove, the edge of the map would bounce the projectiles off. Like I would run up to the edge of the map and it looked like, you know, the water in the beach, and they would bounce off of that and come back. So I thought maybe if I hit like some invisible edge on the wall by going fast enough, they'll come back. So I started looking in and seeing if anybody did any testing with Vengeant Cascade, and currently there wasn't. But there is something that functions very similarly, Nimbus, the ring that was so popular last league, and people did a lot of testing on that. And I watched a video, I believe it was, Captain Lance did a video where he explored basically the idea of projectiles going fast enough. He did this with ethereal knives, and if they go fast enough, basically they're not rendered, and so I guess it just assumes that there's a wall there and sends the projectiles back in the case of Nimbus. So I decided to test this with Vengeant Cascade. And what I got, I'll pull out my I must have gotten rid of it here. Nope. Pull up my Hydrosphere here. And I'm just going to go somewhere open. So I'll go ahead and pop over to the Vistiri Desert. Something that has just a lot of open space. There's probably a better area for this, but something where I can kind of go off into the distance. Okay. So I'm going to take out faster projectiles, put back on Ice Bite, and I'm going to go ahead and put on Hydrosphere here. And we're going to hit the Hydrosphere, and as you can see, my current projectile speed is 94, and the projectiles do not come back. However, I swap out faster projectiles, and we throw it down, and there you go, the projectiles come back. So, somewhere in between 94 and 165, I'm going to try to narrow down what that number is so I can min-max it. But sometime in between there is the breakpoint where the projectiles will return even on an open map or even in an arena with no walls, like the Searing Exarch and Eater of Worlds arenas. So I kind of made that discovery, and as such I was running a faster projectile. You saw me swap out Ice Bite for faster projectile in that fight, and it skyrocketed my damage. So basically what we're doing is we're attacking, and our Frostblades is sending out, I believe, 9 additional projectiles. There's so much text here, but I think it's 9 additional. Oh, fires 10 projectiles. Okay. And those 10 projectiles are going out. And normally, even without the faster projectiles, if they hit a wall, they just come back. You can see them hitting this wall and they'll come back. But like if a wall is too far away, like when I didn't have projectile speed, they wouldn't even come back over this side wall when I did it down here. Let's see if I can get far enough away. Nope. Now I have enough baseline projectile speed. But yeah, my trees looks a little different because of that. So what I did is I just came down here and got long shot and got the projectile mastery with more projectile speed. So I had to make some cuts. I got rid of Life Raker, unfortunately, and I might have gotten rid of. I had the 50 Life Mastery as well, so I got rid of that. And I might have gotten rid of something else, but basically I had to make some cuts. I pathed through here to save a couple of points. I could get rid of this and this, as well as the frenzy charge duration, because I had a viewer point out that this is actually more efficient pathing. I'm able to save 1 point by doing it this way, because I spend this point and this point, and get rid of this one, and this one. Although I think I take this point too. I might have this set up slightly wrong here, but I know there's a way to save a point here. I actually think I'm point neutral as is. But yeah, I'll go ahead and fix that. My pathing's been a little weird because of the... Oh, I got rid of one of my frenzy charges. So that's down a frenzy charge, by the way, as well, that I did that. But yeah, for all of the normal fights where I wasn't getting the procs with Vengeance Cascade, there was a bit of a ramp up time. You had to wait for the trendy, and then the damage was okay. I did get a new weapon. I picked this up for 8 chaos and then crafted the Ellie pen. I didn't have an exalt and still don't have an exalt, so I didn't do the top one. So I just have 8% pen from this. But this is quite a nice claw, and it just has lightning damage and attack speed. I am going to switch to cold and heat shiver very, very soon. I plan on doing it shortly after this video. So I am making that swap. And my current Atlas completion is 64. I am going to go back and do the ones I kind of rushed up because I said I wanted to get my 2 Void Stones by the end of this, by the time I did this video. So I kind of just rushed through the maps and, just kind of skipped along. I even turned in one of my cards that got me a tier 15 map to kind of progress me a little quicker. And what I'm doing here, now that I have all of the shaping nodes, so I could go up quicker, I'm kind of setting up a little bit of a blight because I did have to buy for 31 chaos each 2 golden oils to get Vengeance Cascade. So the anoint I have on this amulet, and now I'm going to have to do it again when I get my yoke. So, but I did want to do my Void Stones with all rare gear to prove that you could do it. And then, yeah, I'll have to get 2 more golden oils. So I'm using Blight to farm up oils, hopefully get some golden oils. I got a bunch of blighted maps already. And also, Blight's just a decent way to make currency. And with the Vengeance Cascade, and I also have Pierce. There's another Frostblades creator. Let me see if I can quickly pull up his YouTube so I can give him a quick shout out. But there is another guy, Zish, Z-I-S-H. I'll go ahead and link that in the description below,
welcome back.
Along with the Captain Lance video that kind of helped me figure out how to set all of this up. So yeah, kind of credit to him. He talked about, made a very compelling point about having Pierce in the build. What I initially did was I got the Pierce here. I didn't take both of these, especially after Vengeance Cascade. The problem with having 3 Pierce targets with Vengeance Cascade, at least before I got the projectile speed, I might be able to do that with the projectile speed. But the issue is they would basically not come back very easily. With Vengeance Cascade, so it didn't work. But actually, I might be able to, once I get a different pair of gloves, take these 3 points. It might be 2 point heavy. I'm never going to get into my cluster jewel setup if I try to take all of these additional nodes. And I am going to try to find a more elegant way, possibly through cluster jewels, to get my to get more projectile speed, because right now I'm going way out of the way. I guess while I'm down here, I could get like Entrench and Thick Skin, but once again, lots of points. I'm also taking Wind Dancer at the moment. And yeah, I got my last Ascendancy. I didn't get that until level 88. I didn't find the Uber Ascendancy key until super late this time. And I didn't want to buy one. I was being stubborn. So yeah, I'll swap this back over, and I'll just go over the gear. A lot of it's the same, but I do have a new claw. I have the exact same helmet. I have a 6 link now, and I've crafted it up a little bit. I'm going to trade this out for a hybrid armor evasion 6 link later on, and I still do not have the unveil yet or I haven't unveiled the Fizz taken as elemental. However, I do have Gravicious, who is the one who drops it, on my map, so I'm going to run some missions until I get a body armor from Gravicious so I can unveil that, and that'll improve our physical defenses very substantially, because right now physical defenses are terrible. I have no Fizz taken as elemental and 340 armor, so I'm very likely to get one shot. In fact, I've died quite a bit. I've died 38 times, including that time you saw in the Searing Exarch. I'm not very good at dodging the balls. I tried to use my totems to block it, but yeah, I'm very tired, so I played it very poorly. But oh, new belt. I don't need quite as much strength. I am going very heavily on the strength. 49 strength on this as well. Just tons of damage and strength and some resist with the 23 chaos resist roll. Very, very heavy on the strength here, and I'll be able to drop a lot of strength and trade some of my gear out for better gear as soon as I get my jewel, my timeless jewel here. Right now I'm just using a pretty generic jewel. I found the 6% increased maximum life and 10% increased damage, and then I just regaled attack speed on there. So this is like a very generically good jewel. It's not great, but it is just generically good for attack builds for an early on jewel. But I'll be trading that out for a lethal pride as soon as I have one available, and then I won't need to get so much strength from all of my jewelry, and I can start trading that out for better stuff. But yeah, I also had to craft projectile speed on here, and I am up to negative 23 instead of negative 60 chaos resist, so making some progress. But I got these gloves. I guess I'm kind of all over rambly again here, but I'm covering all of the equipment slowly but surely here. Got these new gloves. I just harvest crafted them. I got the fractured fire resist on here, and then I just harvest craft life until I hit, you know, a good resist, and then I crafted on some more resist, which I needed at the time and don't really anymore, and cast resist. But I'm gonna have to fix some resistances around for when I change to heat shiver and yoke. Make sure everything's covered. Shield, it's the same shield, nothing's changed since yesterday. Boots, new boots. Yeah, they just dropped and I crafted them on. I don't really have too many beneficial eater things except for the pierce. I guess cold resist when an enemy or when a unique enemy is nearby isn't bad, but definitely not ideal. And then for this, I have evasion and lightning damage, which is actually quite good. Boots, the action speed actually doesn't help me at all because Trickster just has a base 108, and that means anything below 8% action speed does nothing because that's just my baseline. It doesn't add on to that and put it to 112. It just stays at 1.8 until I would get 9% action speed elsewhere, and then it would start to raise. So a little bit of waste there. In General's Cry cooldown, obviously not useful. I'm not bothering to put any Eldritch stuff on the helmet because that's, you know, the first thing I'm going to replace with Heat Shiver as soon as possible. But yeah, the Vengeance Cascade's very strong. I'm starting to get good flasks. This is a great diamond flask. 3 charges when you're hit by an enemy, and then tier 1 crit strike roll on a diamond flask. So really, really incredible there. So I'm getting 150% crit chance there. Not counting my Assassin's Mark or Nightblade. Yeah, it gives me 12%. And then it would give me another like 4% or so with Nightblade and Assassin's Mark. So that's pretty big. Yeah, 16% crit from the one flask. Very, very strong. And then I have my used when charges reach full on my silver flask as well. Somebody did helpfully point out, because I did not know this, that the charges gained when you inflict a critical strike do share a cooldown. They have an internal cooldown of 0.1 seconds, so they can proc at most 10 times per second. And then they also share a cooldown, but I actually am going to roll it on most of my, if not all of my flasks anyway. And the reason for that is because they all have a percentage. I think it maxes out at like 30 something. I think it's like 35 or 34% is the max roll you can get. Since they have a chance, you're going to miss procs anyways. This kind of ensures that you're hitting them all. I think the sweet spot, I'll have to math it out, but my max attacks per second is going to be around 10, maybe 11 with the new, with all of the new Crucible stuff. And yeah, I think we're going to be able to hit things anyway. But then, yeah, I got a higher level Quicksilver Flask with 20%, and it's got attack speed on it, increased duration. Going to automate that. I'm also got a Stibnite, which isn't automated and is, I think, the same one you get from the quest in Act 10. So still using that. I'll get a higher level one and craft some better stuff on that later. And as far as what I've been doing with my dump tab stuff, just been looking through for claws. Like I have this Imperial Claw with 2 to 6 and then 10 attack speed. And the interesting thing about this one, I think, is just that I think I showed this one already, but I have some other ones. This is a Noble Claw, but it does have tier 2 flat fractured physical, and then it also has another physical roll, attack speed, and increased explicit physical and chaos modifier magnitude. So I might be able to get a decent elemental physical claw with this, because it also has the conversion to fire, and somebody might want it, or I might want to use it for like Molten Strike or something later, something interesting. But yeah, I've just been taking either bases like the Champion Kite Shield that would sell for a lot if I get the unique version, or just Imperial Claws, or high base round shields, the armor evasion hybrid ones, and kind of putting them over to the side as I get them in maps, and then I'll just do one reveal on them. And yeah, I just keep one in my inventory at all time, take a look at the tree, decide if it's something I want. Like this one sells for an extra Igneous Geode, so I'm holding the ones that sell as well. And then I so far have only gotten one Primeval Remnant, which did drop from a monster, so that is confirmation that these can also drop outside of, I think they come from the Igneous or whatever that you can get from selling things, so I think you can get them from selling items that you cook up too, but they can actually drop from the monsters. I got mine in a tier 15 from a fully cooked one that had 2 unique bosses that took me absolutely forever and like 4 portals to kill, because I did die 3 times to the 2 unique bosses. I think I got like the physical and the lightning unique boss, or maybe 2 physical ones at once. So it was a very harrowing experience and makes up for about 10% of my total deaths just to get this thing. But you know, it was interesting limit testing. Yeah, that's pretty much the whole update. I hope you enjoyed, and I may have a video out tomorrow or the day after. We'll see how much I get done. I'm probably gonna try to sleep more because I haven't slept well the last couple of nights. This has been Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and I'll see you next time. Bye.